tomorrow or
We're going on
something.
now. So setting it up, see what's happening. Let's see. Okay, hello, Facebook. We are indeed live, not something I do often. However, I have a really amazing soul with us today, and I want to introduce you to Julie Mae Allison, a starseed activator. So, Julie, tell us a little bit more about you.
Hi Vicky, thank you so much. Yeah, a starseed activator. I spent my life quite a normal childhood, and this has only happened quite recently in terms of me. I am one of those weird ones, just like I'm sure all of us are now, that connect with guides. And as we were starting to connect with spiritual guides, I realised a lot of these were becoming galactic guides, and since then I've had many visits to different planets through consciousness only, through consciousness with many wonderful, benevolent, beautiful guides, and it's helped me to understand a little bit more about why we're all here on Earth right at this moment in time.
Yeah, I have to admit, I have on several occasions questioned why I am on this planet.
Yeah,
Uh, and I've
yeah,
often felt like I just don't fit in here. This isn't like a space where I just feel like, oh, this is my home. I don't get that feeling. I just get
yeah.
like alien vibe, like nothing feels like it should. But then that could just be my perception of spending my youth watching TV, how it
Yes.
should be with the 2.4 perfect family, house, children, car, all that stuff. Um,
Oh,
so
I can tell you my experience of that, Vicky, and how I've overcome it is
yeah, go.
yes, many of us don't feel at home here. I have many a time in the past gone, please take me up on a spaceship out of here. I don't fit in. And also what I realised was, we both live in the wonderful realm of East Yorkshire, don't we?
We
And
do.
I have seen, again, we look at the films, we look at what's going on video and other people now, and there's all these wonderful high frequency beings that live in Sedona or live in Egypt and been to the pyramids. And I kept thinking, why on earth am I in East Yorkshire, on planet Earth in East Yorkshire right now? And then the guide started to slowly show me that there's a place for all of us. I know now I've got to do some work in the grids to help heal the earth, particularly with the monolith that's in East Yorkshire here, and there's some other hidden deep in the ground, some other work to do. And it's actually made me so much at peace knowing that there is a reason for me on earth right now. So I no longer I no longer keep saying, please beam me up, Scotty. I know my place now, and it's different. It's not just one mission, one purpose. It all comes together, and it comes together with what I need to do
Yeah,
and fits in with everyone else. We're all here to help each other, aren't we, Vicky?
we
With
are.
everything, with whatever we can do.
Yeah,
Whatever our own mission is, unique mission is. Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I'm just making sure there's no comments that I've missed on Facebook. So if anyone is
Yeah.
tuning in, we're just having a quick recap on, you know, those that don't feel like they fit in and the reasons why behind that. Um, but yeah, I mean, there is always a purpose for everything. And last week I had a very, very close near miss
Oh,
incident with my daughter in the car, and a driver had literally just decided that even though he could have pulled out at any point before we even got there because the roads were clear, he
yeah.
decided he was going to pull out in that split second that I was literally very close to going into his car. And I did say at the time, if I had been 30 seconds faster, I would have been in his car. But in reality, I think it was only about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And the impact that had was that was really close. What that guy, he was clearly having a death wish that day, but it didn't transpire to be anything else.
Yeah.
And it's moments like that that make me realize, and I don't know, maybe the universe is putting me on this thing with it at the minute, but it did make me realize, like, why would that incident happen?
at
Why was
that
I delayed by
specific.
those 30 seconds?
Mm,
What
mm.
was it that, and quite often we have these experiences when we're ready for a rebirth. And
Yes,
I actually
absolutely.
shared this morning in the Soul Aligned Office and Sales Strategist training that I do feel like there's a shift coming and we're going through a change and an up level. But I think the key message sometimes is just come back to that purpose, like you said, there's a mission and there's a purpose as to why you are in East Yorkshire or why you're in
Yes.
a specific place within the Earth's plane. Um, so Julie, tell me a little bit more. I mean, you speak about, is it the monolith monument? I'm not sure. Which one was it?
Yeah, the monolith. Yeah, there's one in East Yorkshire. And this is what the beautiful thing is. When people start to work with me, we can go everywhere. So we're talking about other planets, but we also can go within the Earth. We can talk to some of the 2D beings. So people will know them as fairies, but there are many. There are many, many beings that are two-dimensional. And people, what we tend to find is we have been here before. That's why we're here now. There is, even the moment we have like that near miss or an accident, I absolutely believe in the whole entirety now, nothing is by accident, nothing is random, that every single thing is already tuned out for you, already set out for you.
Mm.
Um, just because of what I've seen with the guides and many, many versions of myself, many, many versions of other people. And, if we go one path, it might bring us down. So the accident might have been there or a near miss might be there to help, to help you just step back a bit and thought, to think what's going on. So with the monolith, yeah, I was resistant at first. I kind of had it in my head. I saw it many years ago as a child. Um, and I kept getting this calling and I kept resisting. I thought, oh, I can't be bothered yet. And I ended up going a couple of years ago on my birthday. And the monolith is where you can, when you go to some of these structures, and I put my hands on the monolith and I'm looking to see if I get a download, and there
Mm.
was nothing, absolutely nothing.
Oh
And I
gosh.
thought, oh, well, that's, and I didn't say then there's a load of rubbish, but we tend to be very impatient as well. So one of the lessons that we're learning is to be more patient. The very next day, I just felt like I needed to go into meditation, and I must have spent about half an hour with these beings, the guardians of the monolith, telling me how our DNA is going to be activating the monolith and how we need thousands of
And I must
people.
have spent about half an hour with these
Getting a
beings,
feedback.
guardians of the monolith, telling me how our DNA is going to.
There we go. We had a bit of a feedback. No worries.
Yeah, I think it's
Right.
back now. I
Yeah,
don't
we're
know what
fine
happened
now. We're
there.
fine now, aren't we? And and how other people will be involved. So maybe people out there have had that calling to to work with some structures like the monolith or to work with some grid lines. We talk about ley lines, and at the monolith there are supposed to be 5 ley lines. I haven't found them all yet, but I will look outside and outside of me, so I'll watch videos, read books on it, but it's all about coming within and what I'm being told within,
Mm.
and the experience we've had many lifetimes before. And why it gets activated. Because another thing, Vicky, was I was always asking the question, why now? I'm 2 years away from being 60. Why didn't this happen in my 20s? And all these new beautiful star seeds coming in the 20s and having this fantastic time. But it's all good. It's just the timing. So, I'm now at peace with that as well. A
Yeah.
little bit. Sometimes I go off like that, but yeah, so with the monolith, and it's other places as well around the world. People, as it's no secret now that people are healing a lot of grids. But you may find that things are coming to you and you don't quite know what to do. So I've had set groups up so that we can work in meditation to start with, to look at what's going on with the grids around us. I've done some work with groups to allow us to see who we were when we were on Earth, and we could be talking thousands and thousands of years ago. So lifetimes where we maybe where originally the superhumans that we are meant to be right now, that we're coming back and cycling round to. Because one of the things we're talking about is being this, just beyond human. I've talked more about in the past about being multidimensional now, and we're not just this human on Earth right now, and I think that's what we keep forgetting. So when we talk about going off to looking at other planets, and am I Palladian and am I Arcturian? Oh, there's far more than that, and you'll probably have been an infinite number of other species on the planet. And it's all about honing in and why have we been Palladian, and how at this moment in time we can bring that to us to heal ourselves and therefore heal the planet. Because I believe all our missions are to help others to raise our consciousness and rise above the things that are going on, the chaos that's going on now. But there's all reasons for the chaos going on now as well.
Yeah, but just for those that might be listening and going, what the actual fuck?
Yes.
Can we just take it back a little bit, right?
Okay.
So
Come back down to earth.
yeah, when we start questioning why are we here,
Hmm.
it's more of a soul calling rather than a disconnected human being, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So if you're
Yes.
having a human experience and you're asking, why am I here? It's not because necessarily, I mean, obviously, I'm not a medical, so you have to go and seek medical attention wherever, but it's not necessarily a depression, which a lot of people
Hmm.
say, oh, they're depressed because they don't feel like they fit
Hmm.
in.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually not always the case. Sometimes it's because of the disconnect, because of the
Yeah.
deep knowing that actually there's more to this human spirit than we're allowing to unfold. And that's where the disconnection comes from. So your role out here in the world of humanness is about helping the 3D human awaken more into understanding that there is more out there and taking them
Yeah.
on that journey. So how do you do that with someone who might not necessarily have the knowledge that we have, but they've just got this knowing that there is something that they're missing in their life?
Well, we call ourselves starseed or activators. So with activation, when somebody comes to me, we can work our way through that knowledge. So we think we don't have that knowledge. We think we're not understanding it all. But as we start opening up and activating more, and that's a choice for somebody to choose whether they want to carry this on, things start to awaken in them. So, just as an example, we had somebody who was a homeopath. So that's a very, in some ways, that's a very 3D thing. But there's homeopathy that's worked with other frequencies that's actually come from the Syrians and worked with the stars and brought it down to being humanness. And we don't realize that we've got more knowledge that just suddenly comes out as intuition, isn't it? It's our intuition that just needs to expand. And so yeah, basically there are, and not just me, there are those of us, we have the data codes, so we're getting downloaded with data codes. This is
Yeah,
me getting technical, being talking about a human being as a computer,
yeah,
as being programmed. So all along, as a human being, it's very easy to program us all to believe in all the negative things, isn't it? It's very easy to kind of, if I said brainwash, I don't mean in a bad way, but we can easily be
oh
brainwashed into, even our friends can say, oh, isn't the weather bad? and isn't
yeah.
and everything else isn't life, bad, and there's nothing we can do about it. And that kind of annoys me because there's plenty we can do about it. So yeah, in sharing, we're here as human beings to enable us to share, to be, almost like one species that can then share that
Yeah,
data code or the information between each other. So there's a beautiful connection, when you work with somebody and they suddenly get that aha moment of, as a homeopath, we can go, we've been up to planets and got 7D tinctures ready to come, to come back and help, and help other people. But it's, yeah, you're right, Vicky. It is about honing in and being that human being at this moment in time, just using all the beautiful knowledge and tools and healing modalities that our own guides, our soul family guides, can feed to us. And they only ever drip feed, so we'll only get what we need at that time. Otherwise, it's a
Mhm.
bit too mind-blowing to
It
get
is,
everything
yeah.
and end
And
up doing nothing.
yeah, we can go down this rabbit hole, can't we? And
Yeah.
when we're living in the 3D, some of the language and some of the what's the word?
It's like the terminology, isn't
That's it,
it?
terminology. That's what I was looking for, right? Some of the terminology you just go, huh? I don't get it. What is this all about? So,
Yeah.
Julie, let's break it down even further, right? You've got a human being on the planet. How do you know that they need you in that moment? How do they know that they go, actually, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling, I need help?
Mm,
How would someone then find you in that way?
find me. Um, Again, do you mean physically or how they would find me? How
I
they would
just
find
mean,
me?
like, how would they know that they need you?
Yes. So they would, again, would have what tends to happen is we feel like we were always the odd one out, that there's just something when people are talking, you almost can't tolerate the negative talk because most of us have had this calling to just clear ourselves of all these beliefs. We've had some, we've awakened, which just means we realize that the first point of awakening is just realizing there's something more, as in we're watching the news, we're watching the TV, we're talking to the people, and we realize what they're saying isn't actually true. But what we don't quite know is what is true. So we're trying to find our truth and find our truth. And so that's when you'll then find somebody. I had to find my mentor when I went through this first path. And it wasn't many years ago, it's been since about 2014, actually. When you're asking all these questions about what am I doing here? Why am I here right now? Can you take me back up to my home planet? And in actual fact, it's that slightly wrong because we've been many versions of ourselves. There's not just one home planet. But when we talk about going and finding that origin of us, um, there are many sources of that. So it's just infinite. So all we need to know right now is what am I doing here? And that's where, I can help to help the souls, what is their soul's purpose and mission. So it's lovely to help that unfold for somebody. Yeah.
And I love that you
So,
bring homeopathy into it as well.
yeah.
Homeopathy. It's like, I don't know what this thing is behind my head. It's doing something.
It's a halo.
No idea where this is coming from, by the way, because there isn't anything that could be causing that behind me, like in my vision. So yeah, I've got no idea. It's not normally there. Okay, so as what brought you to being a starseed activator?
Yeah, my multidimensional self, honestly, the calling, it never leaves you alone. The times I've resisted, Vicky, and thought, shall I just go and get that usual 9 to 5 job? Because it feels like at that moment in time it would be easier. But I started off in working in offices, working on in the NHS, lots of what do you call them? Offices like NHS, the council, all those public sector places. Those are the places that you tend to find now. There's a lot of the falseness around. So you've had to go into, it's usually we've had to go into at any level, let's say the darkness, haven't we? The dark side, if you if you want to call it that, and face our demons. And so then I just realised there was just something. I had a bit of I needed some healing. We couldn't have children, so I was, as well as working with the hospital to have IVF, I just basically researched and just till it became an obsession. But that's what got me into all of the other modalities, what got me into doing massage in the first place. doing massage, I soon was able in the darkness to find chords, to find other things that are going on in people, and also help them to understand the emotional side of why why we're not healed and things like that. So yeah, and just eventually somebody just triggered in me, we are galactic as well. And of course, at that time, Vicky, I was just thinking about the normal planets that we have in our solar system. But then it expands. It expands to the rest of the solar system and expands to beings that are not even on planets. So yeah, so I just found my calling. It never left me, but it never leaves me now, no matter how
Yeah,
much resistance. You've worked with me, Vicky. But I'm working with you as a client, and there's lots of resistance because of I know people out there definitely. If we are to tell normal people that we are galactic, that we are alien, they would say, well, they would say which planet you're from, literally, and it would be a joke. So I've had lots of resistance of being out there, being visible to tell
mhm,
people what I do, but it can no longer be like that. The push on my back, if you see in the physical, the calling, it has to, it is this moment at this time that we have to get ourselves out there to help
mhm.
ourselves and help others to overcome, to help ourselves heal first from, we talk about the false matrix, but all it is just becoming more superhuman and becoming our own power, in our own powerful being, rather than the disempowerment that just is just an umbrella term for just following the crowd, if we want to call it another way.
Absolutely,
We are not,
absolutely.
that's the trouble. We are not here to follow the crowd and do the 9 to 5 work, as it
No, but
were.
not everybody's destined for this path either. So, how do you then differentiate between someone who is ready and open and someone who is just totally closed down, not interested, do not even dare try and speak to me in this galactic way? It's never going to happen. So, how do you then break down those barriers? Because I know so many spiritual entrepreneurs struggle to get their voice heard, they struggle to
Yeah.
get out there, they struggle to show up because of this resistance, which comes up through fear of judgment. And how do you then combat that between knowing that your star seeds are ready for you and then they come into your space, they find you, and having to then prepare someone for a journey ahead, perhaps?
Yeah, it's a whole place of it comes back to, it sounds awful, but sharing the data codes so that we can be more powerful, so that we can be beings. We've learned to try to not care. One of the things is about having no judgment. One of the
Yeah,
things is not comparing yourself to others and not allowing somebody to compare you, or not allowing somebody to bring you down. But we are living in a world of duality, and that's what we're facing. I was asking the guys the other day about, why we get trolls and, people spamming, and how can we help, the other people, exactly what you said, Vicky, how can I help somebody else be visible and be brave enough, if you like, to get out there. And what we're looking at is being these, starseed warriors. So we're literally a warrior for our cause. And it comes back to, if you think of, I mean, this again sounds bizarre even at starseed level, but if you think of, like Jesus or Yeshua and all his disciples, when they were talking to people, they would have had certain people dishing them, slamming them, and not
absolutely.
believing them. So we're just coming back around in a cycle, and it's something that no matter what, we've got to explain what we need to people in order to heal. Most people, they're asleep just because they choose to, because as we know, it's easier, isn't it? It's a lot easier to be
Yeah.
asleep than it is to be awake, and then start doing all the cleaning work, all the purifying work. That's more difficult, but it's
Mm.
totally necessary, isn't it? And in doing that, we will become the stronger ones. But the other thing about this is knowing that knowing that this is all a game. This, if you're going really far out, when you do start connecting with the guides and asking these human questions from a human perspective with an ego, the guides will show you what it's like from consciousness. So we go in, we go in, and it's a lot of work is within. So I talk about guides, and we can go and talk to Palladians and Arcturians. The biggest thing to do is ask yourself within, is our highest self, or soul searching,
Yeah,
our own source, and they will show us how to be that warrior. They will show us that this is a game and we can just play. What buttons do I want to press? Would you get them consoles, don't you, as a higher self? What buttons as a higher self do I want to press? Because we also think of higher selves as something separate, and we're not separate from it. We learn that we're all oneness. So even when somebody is out there not believing in us, and we've got to push our way through, we have to remember that they're as a mirror, being oneness, that they're as our mirror to have, where am I doubting? So we learn about all that. So we look into, where is
absolutely.
there a mirror in me? Where am I reflecting that? Because we're magnetizing that frequency that we are at
Yeah.
the moment, that vibration that we are at the moment. Hope that
So,
answers your question, Vicky.
so as a spiritual entrepreneur, very spiritual, very out
Yes,
there,
probably
right?
out there.
It's a very different realm for people to understand. So when you first came into
Mm.
my world, you attended the Spiritual Aligned and Wealthy Business Development Day.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
what inspired you to come along to that specific event compared to going to a normal networking event, so to speak?
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, I want to, we feel like we're on our own a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
Whether starseeds or anybody in the spiritual world, I and other people, we tend to feel on our own. And so when I saw, you were, I'm going to say you were local as well, Vicky, which I was like, yes, somebody who's made it that's local. Because again, you also get, when you talk to your friends and other people, they are trying to convince you to do the 9 to 5 job because that's the normal thing. So they're not there to help you with your spiritual business. So I needed somebody like you, Vicky, to help me go, you can make it. Look what I've done. So looking at what all the things that you've achieved, Vicky, was yes, I've got to go here. And it's also about, I love live events. This is fantastic, having computers and being able to go live and speak to people in America and all the other different countries.
Yeah.
It's so fantastic. But this seems nothing like the coming together of different souls. And I've been to some of your live events now, and it's been different people all the time. But equally, there's been something special goes on there, isn't there, Vicky?
Mm.
When you work and you can exchange the data codes. You can exchange your information. Things you don't even have to say something, but it just passes on. We pass our light on to each other, so everybody learns from that. So that's why really, yeah, love going to the live events. And again, for you, because you were spiritual and got me, even if some of it you don't get, that's fine. That some of the way up things, that's fine. But what you get is me. Here I am. I can go off on any planet, go, use my DNA to go in a spaceship. But do I know anything about business? Oh my God. That is not my thing. And so I needed you, Vicky, to help me to really understand what do I do? And
Yeah.
I'm struggling to be visible, but it's getting better. I've now got a YouTube channel, and it's getting out there, and we're starting to be more confident about what we can what we're able to say. And it doesn't matter if you've got trolls and other people there. I've learned that as well.
No, wasn't that an interesting experience though, right? So we all fear judgment of other people at some point through life,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Whether it be an incident, whether it be something you're doing new, whether it be an upper limit or whatever, there's always that, oh, there's going to be a troll, there's going to be this, there's going to be that. But
Yes,
then suddenly you get the troll and you can almost laugh at the comment that's come through
it's
because you just
crazy.
know it's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
You don't have to give your energy away to it. And I think that was one of the beautiful little transformations that you had,
I had,
because
yeah.
of what you do and because it is so different. Okay, it is very different. I mean, I think I only heard about Palladians, I don't know, about a year ago, if I'm lucky,
Yes.
because I haven't gone into that realm.
Yeah.
Yes, I have psychic abilities. I'm very spiritual. I love moving energy. I love connecting with things. I love listening to my intuition. There's so much there, but there's also so much that I don't participate in because
Yeah.
it's not for me yet
Yes.
where I am.
Yes.
I know I'm a star seed. I know I don't belong on this planet really. I know that I'm always going to stick out like a sore thumb. I'm always going to be the black sheep. I'm always going to be that
Yes, that's
person that people
fantastic.
look at and go, oh, what's she up to now? What's she doing? Because people don't fully get me, and that's okay. But over the last 6 months, we've gone on a little bit of a journey, haven't we? You
Yes.
have joined in the Growth Academy Mastermind.
Yes. Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that journey for someone who hasn't had the support in business as a spiritual entrepreneur, who has stepped into who they are. So tell me a little bit about that journey from your perspective and how the last 6 months have unfolded.
Yeah, well, when I think, because it's lovely to now think back to six
Yeah.
months where I was and where I am now. So there's no denying I've still got so much work to do on this. But 6 months ago, I just still, even being in business for a while, this was new to me, getting out into the world. And I just had no idea. I hadn't got a clue. So you, Vicky, showed me, even just some of the tools, some of the, sort of electronic tools to use. I have in my past life, I always call it, but I have used technology for a long time, so I wasn't afraid of it, but it was just growing and growing. I just didn't know where to go. So I would absolutely plod along, not knowing what I was doing. And so, I come to you, Vicky, because I know you've made it. I know you've done a lot, a lot of work on things. And so through these 6 months, and you kick me with the backside a lot. Yay, I love that as well. Are we able to say that? You make sure I'm accountable. You make sure I'm accountable all the time. I needed that. I need deadlines. I needed somebody to help me work through that. So
Yeah,
again from that,
absolutely.
we've done tools to considering in about March time. Just for example, our YouTube channel, there was about 10, I think there's about 10 subscribers. Now we've got about 80, something like that. So it's still not much, but it's growing exponentially,
Yeah.
and that will grow more as we do more, grow more work. I've even started doing things on my Instagram account. This was how bad I was before, not actually doing a lot a lot of the marketing stuff. So I've been able to grow a lot more knowledge and information on what to do. So I'm here now knowing what to do, even if even if there's a long list of things or whatever. I know more about what to do in my marketing to get out there and to get seen and get clients.
Yeah, and that clarity, I mean, I've worked with thousands of entrepreneurs over the years,
Yes.
and the one thing that I see as one of the biggest pullbacks is actually not having that clarity. So the fact that
Yeah.
you've now got that clarity, you've spent this time in the Growth Academy, you've had support, you've been held, you've even supported others in the group. If you could summarize that experience, how would you summarize it?
It's well, the other thing is the group side as well, isn't it? It's just been this an acceleration. The growth is it. An acceleration from where I was to where I am now, from A to B, with beautiful souls who are all on the same path in terms of not doing the same mission, but all helping each other and all getting each other. No, not one person, as even if they might have thought it, has thought, what on earth is Julie talking about? So,
No.
so through that time, it's been, being able to embrace who I am. It has helped me to go, do you know what? Yeah, I'm a starseed, so what? Deal with it, even, family
I
wise or
love that.
whatever. But
I love that it's brought you
yeah,
into
because I need to. Yeah,
owning
because
who you are.
yeah, we know the mission is bigger than us, and that's the scary thing for a lot of people. And then we've got to embrace that and go, this is what's going to help us. You know, do I want to sit? You know, so do I, that's what I chose when I, you know, sort of chose you 6 months ago, Vicky. I thought right there and then that night, it was all last minute, that night or that day, do I want to just carry on plodding on and not really getting anywhere? Or do I want to go in? Do I want to go all in? And it's when you say to yourself, or say to the guide or whoever, I'm all in, that, you know, that helps, and that's where everything can fall into place. And
So
so
much
you
shifts
get the
once you've made so
perfect
much
route.
shifts once you made that decision, doesn't it?
Yes, yes.
But thank you for joining me, Julie. Because I think your message needs to get out there so much
I
more
know.
than what it is now. And I know there are several star seeds on my platforms and those that are spiritually awake, and they may find your story quite inspiring, especially with the depths that you go to on different planets, literally.
Yes.
So if
Yes.
you're looking for a spaceship, or you are deciding that you need to go find your own spaceship, make sure you reach out to Julie. I'll pop some details below, and I look forward to catching up with you soon. All right. Thank you. Speak to you later.